Hello again, everyone. This is Gilmer, and welcome back to Let's Play War in the West. I am playing as allies, and we're about to invade Sicily, is what we're about to do right now. And before I do that, I want to kind of give you a view of some of the things on this game. I don't know if you want to know them or not want to know them, but the game is very detailed, very much like War in the East. So let me just kind of take a look at some of these things. We got the 231st British Infantry Brigade, 30th British Corps, the 20. I don't know what that means, but this is. Let me hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. I had to cough, and I didn't want to cough right into the mic. So if you right click on one of these units, you will see what is attached to it, and you can see several rifle sections are attached to the 231st British Infantry Brigade. You have field engineer sections, carrier selections. Not really sure what that is, but we'll take a look at it. They have 3 Bren LMGs, one PIAT, I don't know what that is, 2-inch Mark II mortars, and 9 .303 caliber, I guess, Lee Enfield rifles, and then 1 hand grenade. 12 men in the platoon. So you can see it's very detailed. You can click on anything you want. There's a 6-pounder anti-tank gun, and I don't know how much that equals into inches, but I'm sure that does pretty well against tanks if they can get a shot off at it. And do we want to assign support units? We don't want to assign support units until they're actually on the ground in Sicily, because if you put support units on them right now, I don't know. It looks like they might have some attached to it already, but you never know. And you don't want to make these too big for the amphibious HQ to attack. So, having said all that, one of the things I wanted to look at is the 1st Canada Infantry Division. Where are their? I want to look at their armor. Here's some armor. So this is the 7th British Armored Division, and if you take a look at it, it has Sherman 3s. That's basically, from what I understand, the M4 tank that was used by the Commonwealth, and it has a 75 millimeter M3 gun. So I think the Sherman 5s, and I don't know if I'll see any. I don't know if we have any, but the Sherman 5s, I think, are the ones that are basically designated as the Firefly. And what that is an M4 tank with a 17-pound gun attached to it, which was pretty effective from what I understand. So, that's something. See, this is the armored division. So they have M4 Shermans and M4A3 Shermans, M4A1 Sherman. And if you take a look at them, I'm not really sure what the difference is between them. This one has a 75 millimeter gun. Let's take it. 75 millimeter gun. It probably has something to do with armor. 74, 42, and 19. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, front armor 43, 25, and 13. Not as powerful. And then so the M4A1. Where's the armor? 74, 42, 19. And then the M4 Sherman 85, 42, 22. So that's obviously an upgrade from the M4A1. And then the M4A3 is, not really sure what the difference is, but between the M4 Sherman and the M4A3 Sherman, the armor looked the same. But regardless, this is the kind of detail you'll get, and it's very well researched, so you don't have to worry too much about some kind of crazy thing like the 2nd U.S. Armored Division riding around in Pershings or something. They might eventually get the Pershing tank. I think that's what it's called. But and I think that came onto the field maybe the 45 in 1945. I don't really know for sure, but I think they do start getting them at some point. But the what I'm trying to get at is you're not going to see any kind of crazy, you know, things going on. You're not going to see the F6F over here in the European theater, because that F6F was just used in the Pacific theater. So that's one of the things you get when you buy one of these games is the the amount of detail, the amount of research that goes into these games, and even saying that sometimes they get things wrong. And if you, just as I say with age-odd games, if you take it to the programmers and say, look, the the base equipment of this unit's wrong, here's some info on it, blah blah blah, they will usually change it in a patch and get that corrected. So it's not, it's not they develop the game and then that's it and they just give it to you. They patch it. They keep patching it and trying to make it more and more accurate. And having said that, let's just go right into the invasion of Sicily. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click Shift U, and it's going to give me the naval interdiction. And as you can see on this hex, it says a 4, but in the hex pop-up window it says Western Allies 41. That is the amount of interdiction on the seas. If essentially that is probably going to make it less likely for my amphibious units to take damage as they're going across these seas. You kind of have to give some cover to them, and it's probably impossible to give them 100% cover. And 41, when I see 41, that one says 43. I think that is a 43 out of a possible 100, so it's basically 43%, and that's pretty good, I think. I've played this game where I let the AI handle the air war, and I don't think the level of interdiction on the seas was as good as that. So I think we're doing okay. Well, I'm going to turn this off because it does kind of clutter up our map. And then we're going to start conducting our invasions. So how do you do an invasion? You have these units called the amphibious HQ. And what you do is you put them in a port and you designate a target hex. And this target hex is 153.295, which is 153.296, 153. So that's going to land right there. And I don't know why it's not kind of showing it, or maybe it would show it if I did some clicking around. I'm not sure, but that's where it's supposed to be invading. So if I click invade, it's going to come across the sea and it's going to land in this area, and then your troops are going to offload on to some degree. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see what this looks like. And let's just back up just a second. When you put this amphibious HQ in a port and you designate a target, each turn it builds up preparation points. And you cannot do an invasion before you get to 50 points for preparation points. So this one's at 56, so it's good to go. And so all you have to do is click invade. And it says launch amphibious assault. I'm going to say yes and see how it's going. So now it's over here on the shores basically of Sicily, ready to disembark and do some attacking. And we're going to do that for all the ones set up. So this one is set to go to 154.293, which is that right there, Syracuse. So let's invade. Yes, amphibious attrition 5. I don't think that's very good. I think that was kind of horrible, to be honest. There's not an amphibious attack HQ in that hex, so we're going to the next one. It has 56 points. It's going to 154.296, which is there. Yes. And so you see where it's just off the coastline there. And now let's go to, that's not one, this is one, the 3rd U.S. Infantry Division. They're going to 146-293, which is this. So let's invade. Yes. So I guess amphibious attrition 5 is not really what I wanted to see, but I probably could have done better on preparing the seas, clearing the seas for them to get there. So this actually shows you where it's coming. This red line is showing you its attack line. So it's going to come here. I should have realized that before, and I actually knew that before and I didn't say it, but I wasn't really thinking. So it does tell you where it's going. Oh, amphibious attrition 7, that sucks. So as you can see, I probably could have done a much better job of preparing the seas, clearing the seas for these attacks. And this one's coming to here. So we will invade. Its attrition will probably be 10. Jesus. So I guess 10 isn't the max because they did still make it. So, what else? Is there anyone else over here ready to go? I don't think so. So when we come over here, how does this work? On ships may only unload in a port. Well, that's a port right there, buddy. Man, I watched this the other day, and I know I was doing it. What was that? Soft factor. I was watching this the other day, damn it. And now it's not working. It might be that I have to... I played the Invasion of Husky, and oh well. Well, I think I have to execute a turn. I apologize for not knowing this, but I watched somebody else do it, and they didn't have any. They did it. What it did was, though, it attacked, but then on the resolution turn, they actually did a real attack or whatever. They came ashore, and then they did their real attack. So before I do that, though, I want to show you something. I was looking at this last night, or not last night. I was actually not feeling well yesterday, and that's why I didn't do much. I was planning on actually recording yesterday. So as you can see by the hex pop-up, resource production is damaged to 20%. That might be me going after their oil and fuel. I don't know. Heavy industry damaged 9%. That's Essen. This is Duisburg. Their resource production is damaged 34%. Okay, Dusseldorf. Here we go. Resource production is damaged 95%. I don't necessarily know that was all me. It looks like a lot of resources are damaged already, and but it says heavy industry damaged 21%, and then it says turns since last photo 1 turn. That's because I ran a recon flight in and out of there, and it took some pictures. And now the other place was Bielefeld, and I saw it just a little while ago. It was damn it, now I can't oh, here it is. And then Bielefeld is the other place that I attacked, and I just see 12% on their resource production, but I don't think they have much heavy industry. They just have resource production, but I'm not positive about that. But that's what I wanted to show you. My air turn did do some damage, and I wanted to make sure I mentioned that before I did anything else. So, is there anything else? No, let's go ahead, and I guess I'm going to end the turn. I probably am making a mistake, but you know, the good thing about these games is in the campaign game, you can make several mistakes and make up for it later on. In the smaller scenarios, you don't have as much time or turns to get away with making mistakes. You have to be pretty much on schedule and just continuously hitting your schedule marks to actually win those scenarios. And I've even been told on the forums that a lot of these scenarios are not meant for you to actually win them. They're just you know, kind of as an interesting little side plot to kind of play and see how well you do against the average or something like that. The reason I say that is I've you know, went on the forums and asked about certain scenarios, not necessarily with this game, but other games like War in the East. I think I said I'm having trouble in this scenario where the road to Smolensk, and they said, well, you're not really expected to do that well. You're not expected to take every single target. Now, obviously the best players can do that, but they kind of take into consideration that your intermediate level type players like me aren't going to be able to take all of their objectives. And as you probably might have seen in my Minsk Let's Play, the road to Minsk, which is only 3 turns, back, you know, about a year ago when I was just playing it constantly, I was beating it, taking all the objectives and doing pretty well every single time, and winning a decisive victory every single time. And then I came back to it after a year, and I could only get a major victory. I couldn't get far enough to capture that last objective to make it a decisive victory. But even so, that's what those smaller scenarios are really for, is to kind of just train you on how to do things. But they're not really there other than to, you know, fun scenarios. Other than that, you know, they don't really expect you to win a lot of them, if any of that made sense, which it might not have. So I'm going to end my turn and see what happens. Oh, damn it. I know what I did wrong. And some of you are probably screaming at me. I'm supposed to change the mode. And I realized that as soon as I clicked the damn button, I realized that. Son of a gun. Well, as I said, you can make mistakes and come back from them. And I've never said I don't make mistakes. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I will make so many mistakes that you won't know it. But one thing I will say is that I usually know most of what I'm doing. I'm not going to get on a video and then just be clicking around going, what do I do here? What do I do here? What do I do here? Well, of course, I kind of did that with the amphibious invasion, but most of the time I'm going to know what I'm doing. Now, when we go to take Italy, I'm going to do a lot better, obviously. But I really screwed this up. And it's a good thing that I'm going against the see, now they're coming across. See how they're actually attacking in? But I think that you can do it on your turn. And this delay is kind of, as you can see, let's just pause this for a second and it'll show you. Now this screen is very interesting, and of course there's really no defender here, but there is kind of a fort value of 1, and it's reduced to 0, and the attacker's odds are 257, so I'm 257 to 0. And even though there really is no one here, they're going to say defending forces retreated. And that's just one of those little things that happen in this game. You know, if there's nobody on this side, they're always going to retreat. But see here, we were actually up against some Italian Corps, and or the what does it look like, the 16th Italian Corps, and it has a coastal brigade, a heavy howitzer battalion, and a machine gun battalion, and of course Omar Bradley is commanding the 45th U.S. Infantry Division, the 2nd Corps, and a couple of other things. And so you see, they're really not very good troops, to be honest with you. I don't know if that's exactly all the problem, but as you can see, they lost a hell of a lot of men to our assault, and we lost 12 men and 2 tanks. Well, they say tanks, but I kind of think those are more like smaller armored car type things, because I don't think the tanks came across on the first attack. But you see how the odds, these I think are the initial odds, 124 and 9, and then as everything gets taken into effect, it shows you that I think the final odds are 420. Well, it says 280 to 1, I guess. But it, as you can see, 281 isn't 124 to 9. It's that 1 is probably more of a 1.7 or so, but those were the odds of the battle. Here's another one. And see how we had some surrenders here. I don't know if I can pause. Look at all those things surrendering. So we routed them, and we had some surrenders. As you can see, their ending combat value was 2, and our ending combat value was 129, so that's 64.5 to 1. See, those numbers make a lot more sense. The other one, I think it was just a simple fact that it was down to 1, and anything under 2, they round to 1 for some reason. Instead of putting 1.7 or 1.8, they rounded it to 1, but this is actually exactly on 129 to 2, and that was the final odds, 64.5 to 1, which is 129 divided by 2, as you can see. So there you go. We're on the ground now. Germany is running their sorties. So as you can see, the light bluish is the axis, and the green is me. So I'm out interdicting them basically in all these areas. Some better than others. Over here it's 0 to 0, but over here it's 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 3 to 0, because they don't have enough planes to control the airfields and control the seas. And then they're going through all of our subroutines for logistics. And we're going to go back to the air war on turn 2. So, holy shit. We sure did lose a lot of men on that turn. I bet that was from the naval attrition, which sucks. That's a lot of men to lose to naval attrition. I did a really poor job, I think, of controlling the seas. I don't know exactly what to do at this point, other than do some air recon. Let's see. Show air doctrine screen. Bomb cities. We have several. Ground support, I don't have any. Ground attack. It doesn't look like I have any. Air recon, 2 of 2, 1 of 2, 1 of 3. Bomb city, 2 of 2, 1 of 2. I could probably do some more. Air superiority, 1 of 1. And that's it. Naval patrol, I have 1 of 1 and 2 of 3. So I had them. I'm wondering if I'm not doing this exactly the best way to do it. But I do have naval patrols going out, so. And then there are pilots. Not really sure exactly what this means. Train experience. Well. So this is us on the island of Sicily. So we have these amphibious headquarters, and if you have a consolidated front, basically you could probably get away with just having 2 of these to stay, because what they are is basically a depot, a port, and there's actually a way to look at the depots, and I'm not exactly sure how to look at the depots, but I think if you do, no, I'll look that up before I do my next turn, but there's a key that you can do that'll show the depots, and these basically act as depots for you. And if you right click on it, see it has damage 1, supply details. It has 800 vehicles, 480 supplies, and 480 are required. Assigned. What else? I wonder if I can add these HQ. No, these are the HQs. Oh, this is AFHQ, so these are all assigned to it. So I can't. Let's go back to, this is C, and just elements, support, troop ship, cargo ship, air support, show subordinates. No. Well, we have 800 vehicles, we need 1,000. That's probably due to that naval attrition as well. See, they took 3 damage. 3 damage. 5 damage. That one took a hell of a lot of damage. So see, what it does is, based on your naval interdiction, it calculates how much damage you would have taken as your amphibious forces cross the Straits of Sicily to the island of Sicily. And that's what happened. I obviously didn't do enough, or I don't know if it was even possible to do more than what I did, but I didn't give them enough cover, or they just didn't have enough cover, and that is why I have this guy sitting at damage of 5. So next episode, we're going to figure out this air war a little bit better as well, because something that happened on this turn is, let's see, all of my planes are active now. All of my planes are active now, or they should be. This one is over. This one's over. Oh, wait. This one says it's overburdened. Who is that? That's West Malling. It's at 106. So we will move. What is this one at? 91, 95, 105, 116, 91, 91, 54 is 81. So let's move. Now watch it be overburdened. Nope, this one's at 100%. This one's at 83%. There was another one. Let's do Spitfire B, VB. This is still over. This is still over. I wonder if I can. This is not. No. I wonder if I can do this. Haha. Dover, build an air base. I have 20 admin points. This is how you build an air base. And if it says, it already has an air base, you can expand it. So I'm going to build an air base at Dover. I'm going to build an air base at Eastbourne. I'm going to... Okay, it's at 86%. It's being built up. What about this one? Expand airbase, yes. So, it's over. It's overcrowded though. So as you can see, these numbers weren't necessarily like that in my last turn. Some of these weren't overburdened, but now they are overburdened. I guess as they get airplanes back that are repaired and things like that. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more moving around, getting these fixed up. Do we want to build an air base at Hastings? Yes, we do. So we've used up 4 of our admin points. And that's what you use admin points for. And I don't know if you use it. I've said it before, but I don't know. It's in War in the East. You did use admin points to appoint generals or dismiss generals, but I don't know if that's the case in this game. But I'm thinking it is. And as you can see, game victory points. I am on the losing side of that, and that's because city VPs, I don't have cities, other lost VPs, U-boat VPs. I guess you lose points if you don't do some strategic bombing against the U-boats and eventually against V weapons, and I guess I need to do that almost every turn to decrease the points that we're losing related to U-boats. And that's because the citizenry was upset about the U-boats sinking convoy ships and things like that. So I had 3 points of bombing VPs. U.S. lost VPs -7. I don't know what that's for, but it's for something. So I lost 43 points on that turn. I got to get that turned around. So, what else are we going to do? Is there an air base at Ramsgate? No, there's not. But there is now. Okay, we've used up 5 admin points. That's enough for me. I don't really think I need to change my air directives too much, but I might do some slight tweaking to get more escorts into the bombing raids, and also because now I have more escorts available, and so I might up the number that required escorts for each bombing strike or whatever. So I want to do that, and I also want to do you know, spreading around, get my air bases unburdened, and I also want to just keep on bombing the Ruhr. I guess that's what this is, the Ruhr, Ruhr. I don't know how if I'm pronouncing that, if it's right or not. And also bomb it, in this area with the 8th Army. I mean the 8th Air Force. My strategy is going to be, obviously, take Sicily. And once I take Sicily, or at the same time, I'm also going to be planning on taking Sardinia and Corsica. I don't know. I'm going to look into that. I might not need to take both of them, but I'm going to take at least one because it increases the chance of Italy surrendering. And so once I take Sicily, I'm going to plan on coming up here. Usually this isn't that well defended, so you can usually put in maybe two HQs with 3 or 4 divisions at most, maybe 2 divisions each. And then what I'm going to do, I've read a lot of things, and I've read some people talk about the best places, and there's a couple of to invade Italy. There are a couple of strategy guides, or whatever you would call them, on where the best thing is. Now, against AI, you can do different things than you would be able to do against a human opponent that knows what the hell they're doing. And if you're playing against a human opponent that knows what the hell they're doing, and you do some kind of crazy invasion, you're gonna get destroyed. But against the AI, you can get away with some things. And I'm thinking that you can come up here almost and land in this area and then cut off most of these, or maybe in these areas. I'm not sure. But whatever we do, we got to make sure we do it right. So that will be my next objective, is to do everything right. Do it exactly right. Making no mistakes whatsoever. From now on, no mistakes. Ever. Ever. Because nobody in World War II ever made mistakes. That's just the way it was. They were all brilliant. They never made mistakes. I don't know what this line is. This was what that line is. There's some kind of that line. I'm gonna read up on it as well. This little yellow dotted line. It has something. It's some kind of line that if you go above it, it might even increase the chances of Italy surrendering. This might be the line. I know there's a line at some point where Italy did surrender, basically, and the Germans knew about it, and the Germans pulled all their troops back to a certain line and set up defenses. And they pretty much just took over, whatever in Italy they wanted to take over, and Italy basically just threw their hands up and said, we're done fighting. We're sick of this crap. We had a crazy guy named Mussolini, who was he was a dictator, and we want to get out of this stupid war. And so they just threw their hands up, and the Germans knew about it. Now the Italians were they were talking to the Allies and trying to plan how they were going to surrender, but the Germans, I think, caught wind of it, and so they were ready. They had time to plan. So they, instead of having 2 armies down here, they had 5 armies, or they put in 5 more armies and had 7 armies in Italy when that happened. So just a little interesting side bit. Italy didn't know that they would be getting into the kind of crap fest that they were getting into when they joined up with the Axis, but they found out. I mean, Italians are good people, but in World War II, their leaders chose very poorly on who to back and be a part of, and it cost them. But anyway, that's the end of episode 4. And I will see you next time. Thank you very much. If you watch the video and like it, click like. And if you are somebody who's not subscribed to me, you are much welcome to subscribe. It won't hurt my feelings at all if you subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.